Welcome, Romina. I am so thrilled that you agreed to do this interview. Thank you very much for coming online and being an inspiration and a role model to other people who want to take a leap in their life and overcome some obstacles. Because before we begin, let me just say that I am truly sorry for the trouble you have experienced. You have been in an earthquake and lost nearly everything, and I'm so sorry. We're going to talk a lot about that, but thank you for being so visible online and showing others that there are ways to get over traumatic experiences. So
Thank you.
I think you're really truly amazing and strong, and I love that we're sitting here talking together and you are actually smiling. That's very nice. Yeah. So
Thank
Romina,
you.
tell me first, where are you from?
I'm from Venezuela, actually.
You are from Venezuela. Entonces,
Yes.
hablamos español.
Sí, vamos a hablar español.
But you didn't live in Venezuela your whole life, did you?
No, I lived in Venezuela till my 16th, and then I moved to the Netherlands because my father is Dutch.
Okay.
So situation in Venezuela was not really good. So it's like I'm looking for a better life somewhere else.
Yeah, it must have been such a culture shock, like moving from Venezuela. I've been to Venezuela and I've seen Venezuela, so I know what it's like. And then to the Netherlands, which is like the complete opposite of Venezuela in many ways, also mentality.
Yes, in Venezuela we don't believe in paperwork. That doesn't exist, and that was one of the biggest shocks for me, that everything in the Netherlands needs to be signed. Everything is a paper for everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, wow. So how long did you live in the Netherlands?
I lived in the Netherlands for 6 years.
6 years, okay.
Yeah.
And you actually you took an education there as a designer and photographer?
Yes, I did multimedia design.
Okay.
So it's a bit broad. You can do anything that is pretty much multimedia related. So from websites, apps, to video games, to websites, to a lot of things.
Yeah. And I can tell that you have some graphic skills, because you managed to actually get a lot better light on your video than I did. Well done. So was it 1 year ago or 2 years ago you decided to do something completely different with your life?
It's been for about 3 years. My boyfriend and I, actually, we had a thought of like leaving. We wanted something different, but we were always very scared of doing so.
Why? What scared you?
It's a big change going from having a house. You're quite comfortable. Like, we were living quite comfortably in the Netherlands. We had work, we had enough money. It was safe, to call it like that. It was a very safe location where we were good living inside a bubble. And at some point it just, I don't know, it's like a gut feeling inside my stomach that was telling me like, this is not right. There's more to life than just doing this every day in a loop. Yeah. So we wanted something different. And one day I had a really bad day at work, and I had just got paid, and I checked tickets to Asia, and there was a really cheap ticket to Malaysia. And I asked him, shall we buy it? And he said, yes, buy it. And we bought it, a one-way ticket to Malaysia.
Wow.
Later on, we thought about it, and we were like, oh, now we need to sell everything. Like, we have like a one-way ticket. Now we need to like do stuff.
Yeah, so you just acted at the spur of a moment, and afterwards you realized, oh shit, I have actually just taken the big leap and I need to sell everything.
Yes. I think it was the right way for us to do it, though, because it like made us have to do it because we already had a ticket, so now we couldn't back out anymore.
Yeah, sometimes you have to not plan to actually be able to do things.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just
and
have
take
to
your
take.
choice away.
Yeah. So you took an education as a yoga teacher. When was this?
This was in June this year.
Okay,
We
so
went
that
to
was
India.
after you had the one-way ticket.
Yes, yes. Yeah, this was after. We just got it. We were working as English teachers in Vietnam,
Okay.
and we really wanted to do the yoga teacher training for a while. So we worked as much as we could. Like we really worked like from 7 o'clock in the morning till 9 p.m. in the night.
So you
So
actually worked more than when you had your job back home in the Netherlands.
yes, yes, way more, way
Yeah.
more, way more. But I think we had the right motivation to
Okay.
work, and we knew it was only for a short period of time.
Mm.
So it was a very quick way to get us to India and be allowed to do a yoga teacher training.
And why did you want to do it in India? Because there are yoga teacher training all over the world. So why India?
Yes, it's the birthplace of yoga. So I've done many classes in Western countries, and I kind of know what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to see if it was still the same in India, and it wasn't.
It wasn't. What was different?
No, everything like they really take it upon like a philosophy and a way of life, which is very beautiful.
Yeah, so it's just
And they
it's not just a sport or an exercise
no,
form. No, it's a way of thinking and feeling and living.
yes, yes. So you apply it from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, and I think
Mm.
it was the right choice. I've never experienced anything like that. It was beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, that must have been an amazing experience. Okay, so
Yeah.
how long were you in India?
A bit more than a month. It was really short.
Yeah.
I was sad that it was so short, but it, I need to go back.
You want to go back. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you found this job as a social media manager and yoga teacher in Gili Islands.
Yes, it
Yes.
was.
How
It
did you
was.
find that?
There's a website called Yoga Trade
Yoga
where
Trade? Is it .com?
mhm, I
Yogatrade.com?
think so. I
Good.
think it's yogatrade.com.
Okay.
They post like volunteerings and yoga jobs.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get started teaching yoga like right away, and we applied for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like
Yeah.
we applied each of us. We applied over 200 people, I think.
Wow.
Like we were really looking for work.
You
Like we
really
really
have
wanted
some
it.
stamina there.
Yes, I don't know
Determined.
how we did it, but
Yeah.
we were really looking into working. Like we applied so much. We spent like 3 weeks every day just sending out emails and sending out CVs and contacting also resorts, hotels, hostels, every place that could offer yoga. I think we sent them an email.
So let me just recap, because a lot of
Mhm.
people think that being a digital nomad and being self-employed and following your dreams is like something about, lying on your back by the pool and not doing anything. But it sounds to me like from the moment you made the decision, you have actually been working harder than ever.
Yes,
But
yes.
has it still been better?
It's been really good. Like I love this way of life. It's so
Yeah,
rewarding.
yeah.
It's like taking responsibility for how you live, and how much work you put into will be how much fruits you will get out of it. So
I think, and I actually think that makes a lot of a difference. Now, I'm a psychotherapist, and I have these online courses about setting yourself free and finding home and getting over narcissistic abuse and other things. And I think that I have many days where I work maybe 10 hours, but I never think about it because I love what I do. And that makes
mhm.
all the difference. I have had part-time jobs where I worked 6 hours a day and I hated it. I couldn't wait to go home when those 6 hours were up. But now I can just, work all day because I love what I do. It makes a difference.
Yes, yes, you're
Yeah,
completely right. Like when you do what you love, you need to make yourself take a weekend sometimes, because I
yeah,
also see myself, I don't take weekends. I just keep on doing whatever we're doing.
yeah, yeah. So you found this job in Gili Meno? Was it
Yes,
Gili
in
Meno?
Gilimeno.
Okay,
Yes.
let's just for those who does not know the Gili Islands, say that you have in Indonesia you have Bali, and just on the northeast coast of Bali is the Gili Islands. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's and they're close
It's next to
to the
Lombok.
island of Lombok.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good.
So Gili Meno is there are three main islands: Gili Trabajan, Gili Meno, and
Mm-hmm.
Gili Air. And Gili Meno
Yes.
is the middle one, the middle-sized one, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
It's quite small. It's like you can turn it, you can walk it in an hour pretty much if you walk all
yeah,
around the beach. They're
yeah,
super tiny. There are
yeah.
no cars. There's just horses with little carriages, and it's beautiful. Honestly, it's really beautiful.
Very romantic and very
Yeah.
Bounty Beach-like.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
Gilimeno is mostly for like honeymoons and like small
Okay.
families. Then you have Gili Trawangan, it's mostly for like hostels and backpackers.
Partying.
And yes, yes.
Party
You
and
could hear
drugs.
you could hear them in Gilimeno sometimes. Like they
Oh,
party
wow.
really hard. Like it was
Yeah.
crazy. I was like, where is the party? And then like in the next island. And I'm like, how can we hear them?
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So when did you arrive in Gilimeno?
We arrived in Gilimeno the 1st or 2nd of August. I'm not really sure anymore. The first or the
2018.
second.
So this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And maybe I should say that we have now doing this interview is the 16th of August. So it's
Yes.
actually like 2 weeks ago you arrived in Gilimeno and you were so
Yes.
ready to start your life as a yoga teacher and social media manager. How did it feel to actually step foot on the island and see this is where I'm going to live for the next long time?
It was beautiful because you don't step on the island, you step in the water to get on the island. They drop you in the water, so you need to walk in the water with your bag, carry it onto the beach, and there are the little horses waiting for you to carry you to wherever you're sleeping. So it was beautiful. Like I was so excited to be there.
Great. Wow. And was it a company or a small company or some individual who had the place where you had to work?
It's a guy from England, and he owns 3 villas.
Yeah.
So the villas are very sustainable. They're all like very made with the environment. They're very little concrete use, so it's very to promote like keeping the environment as pure as we can. So it's a really beautiful project.
Stay close to nature.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Also, the yoga shala was all made of bamboo. It was really pretty.
Oh, great. So you had 3 days there. How was it like? What was it like working there?
It was really nice. It was very dusty. Like I was surprised. Like it was like the Wild West. And the weather was great. Like the people were lovely. The food was good. Like they also owned a vegan restaurant.
Oh,
So it was really nice.
yeah,
It was good
perfect.
chocolate cake.
So,
The beach is really
yeah.
good.
So you had the experience of an earthquake. What happened exactly? Where were you when you felt it?
The owner of the place, he was showing me one of the villas, and because the next day he would be gone, he was going to do some inventory and buy some things in Lombok. So he told me, just make sure that the workers tomorrow have this done and check the bed. And he was showing me how to check the bed. So we went upstairs, we went to the balcony, and the moment we were on the balcony, I see the pool moving very weirdly, and I hear these very strange noises. Like
Okay.
the pool starts, like the water in the pool starts going like this.
Wow.
And I didn't understand what was happening. I was looking at it and I was so confused. And you hear like a train coming. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. And then the bamboo house started to like just shake everywhere. It wouldn't stop moving. And I realized like, oh God, this is an earthquake. And I was like, it'll go away. Like it'll stop at some point. And it was actually really hard. Like it was getting just stronger and stronger and stronger. And it felt like forever.
So were you on the balcony the whole time of this? Wow.
Yeah, on the balcony of a bamboo house, which I'm glad we were there, because then we saw later like concrete buildings and they were all destroyed. Like I'm so happy it was bamboo. so happy and so grateful to be in a bamboo place and not anything with concrete, because it allowed the house to like move and sway without breaking that much.
Wow.
So it's like being on a very hard swing.
Yeah. So did it just go on and on and on, or how long did it take?
It must have been really short, but it felt like forever. I think it must be like 30 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
30 seconds to maximum a minute, but I think a minute would be already like me exaggerating too much.
Yeah.
At the point it stopped, like the owner, he looked so pale, and I was like, he has heart problems, so I was really worried about him.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was like, no, nothing can happen to him here. So my priority right then was like to get him out and get to an open space. And we got out as soon as possible, and I screamed for my boyfriend because I was like, where are you? Like, what happened? Yeah. And he was like, I'm fine, I'm okay. I was outside, I was on the road. And I'm like, oh God, I'm so happy like that we all three of us, we were completely unharmed. Like nothing happened.
Okay. But you didn't stay on Gilimeno anyway, did you?
No.
Why?
We stayed for 3 days after the earthquake. Like the day after the earthquake, it was really crazy. Like all the tourists were going crazy, because the night of the earthquake, there was also there was an alert for tsunami for like 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, so we were all sleeping. The whole village was sleeping in the middle of the island on a football field on the floor, trying to see if the tsunami was going to happen or not. So
probably didn't get much sleep that night, did you?
No.
Most of the people there were like scared of their life.
They were screaming, they were praying, and yes, and how do you call it? The earthquake has like tremors after that, aftershocks. Yeah. Yes, aftershocks. So the aftershocks were happening the whole night. Like I don't know how many aftershocks there were, but there were many.
Did that scare you?
Yes.
Yeah.
At some point, you just really wanted to stop. Like
And how do people react when they are there in the football field? Do they support each other, or are they just clinging to their own people, or do you get together or do you separate in that moment?
There was a bit of everything. I think it was quite nice actually, because some of the Muslim families of the island, they brought a power plant so that people could charge their phones. They had like a gasoline power plant little thingy.
Okay.
So that people who couldn't contact their family, didn't have their phone, or it was not charged, could charge their phone. We had some lights, because at the moment of the earthquake, there was no light on the island and there was no water anymore. So that part was really nice, but the part that people really panicking, you can really see that they will take care of their own first.
Yeah.
And then of the others.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of everything. Like people were really scared. There were also people with children. So I cannot understand, because I don't have children, but I can imagine it must be horrible. Like being in a situation like that with a child, like oh my God, I don't know what I would do. Like,
And I actually read that 350 people died in the earthquake. So there must
yeah.
also have been people there who lost someone they loved, who were grieving.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. Especially because the epicenter was in Lombok, so it
Okay.
was 30 kilometers away from us.
Yeah.
But all the people that work on the Gili Islands, they live in Lombok, so all their families are in Lombok.
Wow.
So yes, they were there. It was really bad. Mostly the Indonesian families, they wanted to go straight home. They wanted to go straight
Yeah.
to Lombok to see if their house was still standing, to see if their family was still okay.
Oh, and they couldn't
The next day,
the
but
next
that
day.
night
Okay.
nobody
Wow.
left.
The
No,
longest night of their lives.
it was really long. Yes,
Wow. Yeah.
yes,
Wow. Okay. So you experienced some. You wrote. I saw your Facebook post, and you wrote that you experienced some really bad things like robbery and rape. Not for you, maybe, but you saw or heard that there was a lot of bad stuff going on in the days
yes,
after the quake.
yes. Like my plan was to stay. Like my boyfriends and our plan was to stay. Like we had just gotten a new job. We wanted to help rebuild. We wanted to just stay. Like not having water and electricity didn't really bother us.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, we have enough drinking water for a week. We can survive. We'll figure something out. So the first day we saw all the tourists leave. Like they were really in a panic, to say it like that. Like most tourists, they wanted to get as soon as possible off the island, which I completely understand. And the second day, we got somebody to help us restore solar power, because we had solar power at our
Okay.
place.
Okay.
So we were able to fix that. So we were like, yes, this feels like a win. We have energy now. We can charge stuff. We can help our neighbors charge stuff. So that felt really good. There were very few people left on the island, though. Like very, very few. Like I think 100 people max.
Okay. Okay.
Out of 3,000, maybe.
Wow.
So there was not really much on the island happening. Like all the buildings were on the floor. Most of the buildings were pretty much on the floor. It's going to take a while to rebuild that island. I think all 3 islands.
Yeah.
On the second day, we met some people who also just moved there, so we kind of became friends. And on the third day, we saw locals taking the motors off their boats, which was kind of weird to us. We were like, what's happening? I don't understand. So we went to help some lady also get out of the island. And when we were helping her, there were some locals around, and they were telling us like to be really careful, to sleep this night if we could just with the main locals of the island, or if we could just get off the island. And we still found it very weird because he didn't tell us why.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, well, we knew that more earthquakes were coming, and there were predictions for more earthquakes. So we just thought it would be probably because more earthquakes will happen. We decided to just sleep outside every night with a mosquito net and don't really listen to it. So at the third day, I think it was an Australian boy, he said he had just put his girlfriend on a helicopter to get out of the island because there were people coming to the island. And we were like, what? And they were like, yeah, they're looting in Trawangan, which is the neighbor island. And they're going to come, like they will be looting on all 3 islands. And in Trawangan, they said that they were raping the women that were left on the island. So at that point, I lost it. That was the point where I lost it. And I was like, no, I cannot stay. I cannot stay. My boyfriend was also like, if I would be alone, I would stay. But I'm with you. We cannot stay. Like, even if it's a lie, it's one thing to go through an earthquake. You cannot prevent those things. But people doing these kind of things, that's something that you can be careful about, and that's something where you can be cautious.
Yeah. So who was it looting the islands? Who did that?
Both, like it were Indonesians and tourists. Like we met people on the ferry once we got off the island, and they said that people on the other islands, they were just going through the hotels and grabbing stuff, either tourists or locals. Like it didn't matter. He said it was in Trawangan, they said it was like a Wild West.
Wow.
Like that there were no rules, that they were walking around with knives in their hands to feel safe.
Wow.
So I was like,
that's so crazy.
It's super crazy. Like I'm so happy we left when we did.
Yeah. So you got to Bali?
Yes.
In Ahmed, or where did you land?
We took a boat from Meno to Lombok, and from Lombok we drove to the ferry port and took a ferry all the way up to Bali. It took us like 10 hours.
Oh, wow. So where did you land in Bali?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. We just took a taxi to Kuta, which was a place where we knew we could stay. We called like a guest house and we told them we will be arriving like at 4:00 in the morning. Can we stay there? And they were like, yes. Okay. And we were like, okay, we'll go there.
So how did you feel now setting foot on Bali after having been through all this?
It was really surreal. Like it felt like being in two different universes, because we arrived at 4:00 in the morning. We were hungry. We went to McDonald's. Bad idea. Like bad idea to go at McDonald's 4:00 in the morning. There were so many drunk people trying to order burgers, and we had just come from an island that had no water, no electricity, and had just been through an earthquake.
Yeah.
So it was really shocking to see how close it is to each other, but how unaware people are of what's happening, like a couple of kilometers away.
Yeah.
So it was really weird. The next day,
very unpleasant to have been through trauma and standing there with all that experience and all that hurt and sorrow and the stories and the fear and anxiety, and then experiencing people who were just, basically going on with the party.
Yes, it was just confusing, and I didn't know how to place those emotions. It still felt really weird. The next day we also experienced another earthquake here in Bali. It was not as strong, definitely, but in the guest house you could really see which people were actually near the earthquake, because all the people that experienced the previous earthquake, we were all outside in an instant, and we were like, what's happening? Did you feel it? And they were like, yeah. And the Indonesian people were just still walking and working, and they were looking at us like, what happened? And we're like, you didn't feel that? And they were like, no, what happened? And I'm like, an earthquake just happened again. And they were like, no. And then we checked online, and yes, there was another earthquake, but we were so hypersensitive because all of it, that we can just feel the slightest tremor as an earthquake.
Yeah. Wow. So did that scare you? I mean, I know that you got affected, but were you afraid that this is going to hit Bali too, and the same is going to happen? And
Yes, a bit. I was mostly scared of concrete buildings, because I saw how they break.
Yeah.
Like I'm good with bamboo, because like it can hit you, but maybe a bamboo stick you can like stop it with your arm. You might get a bruise, but if a concrete roof falls down, you're done.
You're done.
Like, you cannot put your arm and be like, oh no.
I will remember that when I travel in Indonesia next time. I will always stay in bamboo houses.
Bamboo. I will swear from now on bamboo.
Yeah,
I want a bamboo house. Yes.
Great.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. So you lost everything pretty much.
Yes. Well, we had invested a lot in coming to Indonesia. We were already kind of broke before Indonesia.
Yeah.
We were planning on going to Vietnam again to teach English. And this job appeared out of the nothing. So we're like, well, let's invest the last thing we have left
Let's
into this
go.
trip. It sounds gorgeous. It's like living on a tropical island. It's like the dream of every single person. And yeah, so we lost the job. We lost the place where we were staying. We lost some material things that really doesn't matter, but it's yeah.
So nothing
It's
happened to you or your boyfriend?
no, nothing.
Okay.
Physically, like we're completely fine. Like
Yeah.
I
So
am amazed. Like
yeah,
I'm so lucky.
it's the emotional trauma that has
Yes.
hit you. Yeah. So
Yes.
you did something pretty remarkable, Romina, because having lost everything and being struck by trauma and maybe even a little paralyzed by the fear of the afterquakes, you still had the nerve or the guts to actually write on Facebook and ask for work.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell
Yes.
me about that.
Um, we were feeling pretty lost. Like we had booked a guest house for 4 days because that's all the money we had left,
Mm.
and we didn't know what to do. Like finding work in 4 days, it's hard. Like it's not something easy to do.
No.
So I've been part of this Facebook community for a couple of months now, and it's female digital nomads, and it's a lot of beautiful, empowering ladies that motivate me to keep going. And people just post their stories there if they need help, if they need an opinion. And I thought, why not ask these ladies if they have some work for me?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to share the story because I didn't want to come from a place and be like, hey, you have some work for me. I wanted them to understand why I was asking for work in such a situation.
Yeah. And
So,
you wrote a remarkable post, a long story where you told everything about what has happened, and you asked very politely and very sweet about work. And I was so inspired that I thought we have to do an interview with you, and you have to tell your story because that's
thank
amazing.
you.
That's an amazing woman with amazing skill and an amazing story. So, did it give you work, Romina?
Yes, it did. Like, there's some amazing ladies just like you who reached out to me, and really, it's been an amazing community. Like seeing women stand out and stick out for each other in moments when we need it the most has been so inspiring to me. Like it's been amazing. Like I have no words for it.
Mm, yeah, that is beautiful, and it's so great that I think. Uh, on a side note, I have been traveling a lot. Now I'm 51. I'll be 52 soon, and I've traveled since I was 19. And
Mm-hmm.
back then, in 30 years ago, there wasn't no communities like that. I traveled alone, and everybody was like, "What? You're traveling alone? Are you crazy? You'll get robbed and raped and everything." But all people were so nice that I met
Mm-hmm.
in the world, both in Europe, and I traveled Central America, and it was amazing to travel there as a lone woman. It was so beautiful, and people were so helpful. And I also met other travelers, and what I found out was that traveling people often, not always, but often have a different mindset. Because we
Yes.
are traveling, we know that I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are in the same boat, and if we are to make it here in the world, we have to be more open and have more room for differences and be more attentive to what is going on and respect others in a different way, and we have to
Mm-hmm.
help each other more than we would at home, because we know that if I was in this situation, I would be so fucked if no one helped me. so I better help others.
Yeah.
So we have
Yeah.
to stand together and work this out. Yeah. And I have experienced this in all the 30 years of traveling, that every time I travel alone, I meet people who have, you know, it's like they have the heart in the right place in a different way. I don't want to be degrading of people in my home country, or
Yeah.
people not traveling, but it really is a different mentality and a different mindset.
Yeah.
You develop it when you travel. Do you agree with me on that? Have you experienced that?
Yeah. Definitely. Like I think it teaches us experiences. It teaches us um, that there are really hard moments that you have to go through. And I think most travelers will be at some point put in those same situations, or maybe not the same situation, but a very similar situation where
Yeah.
somebody helped them, and now they know that you need to just pass on the favor and keep on doing what people have done to you, like how people have helped you. You keep on helping others, and
Yeah.
it's like paying it forward.
And I'm so grateful that you're willing to share. I think that one of the biggest issues that I have experienced with people in my time as a psychotherapist for 20 years is that shame is holding people back. They do not want to share their weaknesses or share their problems or share what they need help with, because they are so ashamed that it's their own fault, and they're
Mm.
guilty, and they're not good enough, and they're unworthy, and they're unlovable, and that shame keeps them from opening up and sharing. And this is one of the things that has to change. If you make traveling a lifestyle, you have to let go of that shame and just open up and say, I need help, I need assistance, I need this, I need that. And of course you have to also help others when they open up and share.
Definitely, I think that's what traveling has taught me the most. Like in since traveling for a year, I had never asked anybody for help. Honestly, like I hadn't asked anybody for money. I hadn't asked anybody for work. Like I would always figure something out. But sometimes life puts you in these positions where you have no choice. Like I was in a position where I had no other choice than to voice what I had gone through and ask for help.
So, Romina, what is going to happen now in your life?
I don't know. I don't know. Thanks to the lovely community, I got some work. So it's small projects, but it will help me to pay a ticket to somewhere else or extend my visa here. So I'm going to finish those projects first, and I'm going to try to get some more work. Still be a digital nomad.
Okay, so what is your favorite work? If someone is sitting out there and looking at you and thinking, I'd like to help, what can they offer you work as?
I love editing pictures. Lately, it's been really my passion. I don't know how I landed in that specific area, but I love it. Like I enjoy it so much. I've been editing for some girls, like their travel pictures, and it's amazing because me as well, I get to see these amazing places that people have been to and see them kind of through their eye, but make the best out of the picture also come out.
That's great. That's great. And I'm thinking you would also teach yoga online if someone needed help or assistance with yoga.
Definitely,
They could Skype you and get some
definitely,
assistance.
definitely. Any private yoga lessons, I would be more than happy to help anybody with it.
Okay.
I also do meal plans. I help people with different types of sports. It's not only yoga. Before this, we also were sports and nutrition advisors. So we can help also in that area. And honestly, anything media related, like I studied media, so no
Yeah.
goes.
Social media management and
Social
administrative
media
assistant.
management.
Yeah, you can do a
Yes,
little. And if people have doubts and just want to help, they can actually write you and ask you if you can help them with whatever task they have. Is that correct?
definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
I'll be more than happy to help
Yeah.
anybody. After this experience, I'm so happy to help people right now because I feel I owe so much.
Yeah, wow, great. So if you had the choice to do one thing today, what would you do? You
What
can
would
do
I do?
anything. What would you do? Would you leave the island, go back to the Netherlands, go somewhere else? What would you do?
I would go to the beach.
You would go to the beach. That's
Yes,
great.
I would go to the beach. I feel
Yeah.
like the ocean has something cleansing, and every time I need to let go of certain things, I think salt water and a dip in the beach, it's life changing for me.
Yeah, salt water is so cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We do that here in Tenerife, where I am located right now.
Oh,
I have a group of spiritual friends, and every time we have done something spiritual, we go to the beach and cleanse ourselves in the ocean. Actually, with
oh.
cold water. It's very beautiful. So I understand that. I completely get that. Go to the beach and hang out and get cleansed. Uh,
Yes.
and also being in nature is very healing. When you've had a traumatic experience, um, there are three things that I find is very helping. And one is to be in nature and connect to nature. One is to laugh a lot. Laughing physically actually releases anxiety from your body. And the last thing is to move your body. And you know this, of
Yes.
course, as a yoga teacher, that
Yeah.
moving your body, whether it's yoga or just dancing or running or having fun, moving your body will actually release trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess you have also been doing yoga since you came to Bali, haven't you?
Honestly, I haven't been able to
Okay.
bring myself to the mats, but I do move. Like I realize because I can feel it. I can feel it in my shoulders. I can feel it in my posture. I can feel that after the earthquake, I'm very closed up again.
Like
Like,
that.
yes,
Yeah.
I like being in a ball constantly.
Yeah.
So I'm really making an effort of trying to stand straight. I do some stretches to open up my chest and open my heart, but not really a full-on yoga yoga session yet.
Yeah. What's it called? The swan or something? The breathing
Yes,
exercise, do you know it? Yeah.
yes.
Open up.
Open up the chest.
Yeah, that's beautiful. How do you hold your arms perfectly? What is the right position? Is it up or is it out?
It depends. There's so many because you can hold them like this,
Yeah.
and this opens your chest a lot. If
Yeah.
you hold them straight, it opens your shoulders a lot. So you need to do a combination of everything. And if you can, like go up and go
Ah,
down and really stretch. Like I think morning stretches, like what you do when you get out of bed or when you're like, I think those kind of movements are the best to release any kind of tension. So I'm really trying to focus on those.
so are you doing that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, a lot of those.
Thank you for taking care of yourself. That's
Trying.
yeah, yeah. Well, okay, Romina, we have to close down, but I want to thank you so much for coming online with me and letting me interview you and share your amazing story. Thank you so much. It has been an inspiration, and I'm so fortunate to have met you and get this opportunity to pass on and inspire others together with you.
Thank you so much, really. It's been an honor being here, and I do see it. It is very therapeutic to talk about it, and it might also encourage some other people that have been through some traumatic experience to talk about it, and it stops it being so heavy when once you start talking about it. Once you make it yours, it becomes something that holds you down, and I don't want that. And I think more people should try to just breathe and
Yeah,
talk about it.
breathe and dance and talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Romina, have a nice day and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Bye.